Continue straight on and take the roundabout, then arrive at your destination. Welcome to the Elevate podcast. Now we'll take it from here.
Welcome to the Elevate podcast, powered by Braden. This is your front row seat to the stories of local leaders, both nonprofit and for-profit, who are shaping our community. Every episode brings you leadership insights, lessons from challenges, and practical strategies you can use today. And yes, we'll keep it real and have some fun along the way. If you're ready to elevate your leadership, hit subscribe and follow us on LinkedIn for updates and behind-the-scenes content. Now, let's dive in. Hey everybody, Jason Olm here with another episode of the Elevate podcast, powered by Braden. These episodes, these things are so much fun. We've had a number of people in the studio already. All the stories are terrific. This one's going to be a first. I haven't sat down with the mayor yet. And so it's terrific to have a friend and a city that I love, actually, and an opportunity to have a conversation with her and learn more about her story. And so, Sue, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So just quick, which city are you with, Sue? If our people don't know, they probably should.
Carmel, India, the greatest city on the planet.
Love that. So, all right. So we've talked before, but there's a lot about your story that I don't know up until the point where you get into city government. So where are you from originally?
A little town in northern Michigan called Roscommon.
Okay.
Other people may know it. It's Higgins Lake.
Okay.
It's one of the two nicest lakes in northern Michigan by far. So very touristy, very wooded. Spend summers riding motorcycles, horseback, chasing through the woods, whatever. So totally different vibe than I have here in Carmel for sure.
Okay, so a little part of Michigan. And so high school, what were you doing kind of through those days before you get into college? What did it look like for you in those high school days?
I was a math and science kid, a music nerd, played basketball and softball, so a little bit of everything. It was a small school, graduating class of 126, right? So much smaller than we had in Carmel, Indiana too. So it was a great school, high academics. It was fun.
Okay, all right. So finishing up high school, making the decision to go to college, where do you go and what do you think you're going to study?
So, I had looked at several things. I was really interested in sort of applying in the military.
Okay.
But I didn't know of any females that had been in the military. I was really interested in computers. Was interested in being a teacher, was interested in being an athletic trainer. So eventually I landed on sports medicine as a major at Central Michigan University.
Okay.
I'm still a diehard Michigan fan. I was, pretty much, set to go there. My dad had the first day of high school and my senior year. So that was our first day of my senior year of high school.
Okay.
Tough, right? And my mom wanted me to stay at home at this little tiny cutie college. I still want to go to Michigan, and so compromise on Central Michigan, which was a fantastic choice for me.
Okay.
13,000 students, I guess, only an hour and a half away.
So reasonably close to home.
Yeah.
But a good opportunity. But the interesting, so thought about the military, yeah? And then all those other things, and then decide to go there. Okay, so now you're starting in university, you're in Central Michigan. How do things progress for those next 4 years for you?
Busy. The sports medicine major was 120 credits, which was the largest program at the time. And then you work with teams every afternoon, weekends, you're traveling with teams. And so you really had to be organized. I still had to pick up some part-time work to bring in a buck or two on the side as well. So they went fast, and it was great though. Being around collegiate athletics.
Yeah.
Division I collegiate athletics. You start with 250 people down to a group of 12, gets accepted into the program. Some highly competitive. It's just a whole new world.
Right. So you go through those 4 years. You're in that space. As you come to the end of your college days, what do you think you're going to do? Like, what's a career look like for you, or where do you think you're going to go next?
Well, this is in my head that I was going to be the first head athletic trainer that's a female in the NFL. Now, that still hasn't happened yet. And that was like 1,000 years ago.
So it still hasn't happened? You're finishing school years old. The main goal, you're going to go work for the NFL and be a lead athletic trainer.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where the goal was.
But our last semester is supposed to be off campus at a full-time 15-hour credit hour internship.
Okay.
And so that means you pay for the 15 hours, right? You work 40 hours a week for somebody for free. And since I was from a little town in northern Michigan, the big opportunities with the big sports were all in Detroit, and that intimidated me. Didn't have any family there, didn't have the money to get an apartment. Like, there's just some barriers there. So I had this opportunity to go to the Thumb area of Michigan, I guess the Thumb area of the lake, and work at a manufacturing facility as an athletic trainer. There was two others there,
Okay.
and they needed an intern. And that really opened my eyes, literally almost overnight. You take care of moms and dads with shoulder injuries, back injuries, knee injuries, just trying to get through their work. You put their kids through school, or whatever their goals were financially. We also ran a fitness center, and then the amazing leadership that owned that manufacturing facility also let us treat kids in high schools for 7 counties around that, but basically the whole Thumb area.
How cool is that?
Both schools didn't have an athletic trainer. There's only one orthopedic surgeon in that whole part of Michigan.
Okay.
So that still got me close to athletics. I ended up starting a program at a small school, being the only athletic trainer there, doing football, basketball, wrestling. So they had me a little bit of entrepreneurship. So I had to go market myself, sell myself, develop the program, implement it. That it was a family-owned manufacturing facility. So after a year, I did my internship. I got offered a job the same day I got offered a graduate assistantship at West Virginia University.
Okay.
And they wouldn't give me football because I was the phenom candidate, and it made me mad. And so my boss came up and said, before you make a decision, here's a job offer. And I just I took the job offer. I stayed there 2 years, got to open another manufacturing plant facility during rehab and fitness. And they got recruited to Indiana to do the same thing.
Okay.
Well, for the next several years, I spent time doing on-site rehab and fitness at manufacturing facilities. But I was really interested, even when I was in Michigan, ergonomics was just starting. And, the ability to identify a problem and prevent it before someone gets hurt is intriguing. And especially when you lay the lens of being a caregiver, right on top of that. And most people coming at ergonomics were coming from the engineering side of things, how to fix the process, the equipment, the tooling. And I was coming at it from how do you look at the preparation, physical preparation, the nutrition, the fatigue ratios to work, those kind of things.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going into that field. And I had a boss that gave me a gift. And it was, hey, look, I hear you. I know you want to do this. Here's what we'll do. We'll send you to all the ergonomics education you feel you need. And University of Michigan was leading in that space in the engineering school that they had. And he said, once you're ready, then you have a year to cover your salary and your benefits and any other costs. You can't cover that after a year. We're going to have to think about whether this is something we want to pursue past that date. And so that made me instant motivation.
You're right, sure.
But it also started me thinking about sustainability of business. Is this a nonprofit where I'm giving away my time and my effort, or is this actually a business where I'm getting the ability to charge for something that has value to cover my costs? And so as a 22-year-old, because I graduated young from college.
You're only 22, they gave you this opportunity?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, 23.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a gift. So I had the safety net of the company.
Yeah.
But this little tiny division to kind of start. And right out of the gate, we got bigger companies like Delta Faucet and Indianapolis Power and Light and Carrier Corporation and Cummins and Navistar and Subaru. Like, we started picking off these bigger ones.
Okay.
And it was just a blast. And so my job kind of evolved into this because I had to sell it, right? And then deliver it and then evaluate it. And then
So you were doing the whole cycle, but you were actually pulling out you were the tip of the spear getting into all those businesses. I didn't know that about your story. That's interesting to hear that you were out really selling yourself. Right?
So I did that for several years and ended up working for another company. They got acquired by Community Health Systems, worked for them for a couple of years, and then partnered with a gray bag out of northern Indiana. And I was a partner firm for 4 years, doing ergonomics consulting, multiple states. It was great. It was a great experience. You help people right away because they don't have workers' comp. They feel better at night. They can sleep through the night. There's happier at work, and if you look forward to seeing you like every week or every couple of days, whatever the contract called for. So it was good. It was harder, right? Those shirtless plants are really hot or really cold or really noisy or really dirty. But there's kind of like 3 days with football. Maybe not the best environment, but if you love what you're doing, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
It's really interesting, Sue. When you hear people's stories, right? So you think about what you were doing. You actually were providing the service, helping somebody with a shoulder injury, for example, a mom and a dad, helping them get back to be better so we can support the family. You don't normally hear people with that skill set coming over to the other side of the table, going out, knocking on a door, like, here's what we do, and selling it. So as you were working that particular role and kind of working through that, did you really enjoy both sides of the job? Did one of them take you one way? I mean, what was your favorite part of that role? Because that's two separate things.
yes, they're both hard. They're both challenging. I felt like at one point I was being really pulled to be more of a technical expert. I was a board certified ergonomist,
Okay.
nationally accredited, or nationally certified, I should say. And so I thought, maybe I'd take a little bit deeper route there, which drove me into getting to understand tooling better. I went to a couple of manufacturing facilities that made tooling and talked about ergonomic changes so that my clients could be better. So I felt like I had a pull toward that.
Okay.
It was harder for me not having an engineering background, either industrial engineering or mechanical.
Yeah.
So that was challenging. And then I also had this pull to developing this line of work within the athletic training community.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I went to work at Walbro, was the name of the company in Michigan that I first started working for. I was one of only 6 athletic trainers out of 40,000 that were working in the industrial setting. And so along the journey there, I chaired they called Clinical Industrial Corporate Committee, representing 40% of the athletic trainers that worked in that space. And so I was really kind of pushing the industrial part. So that was interesting to me because I like advocating, which I think got me along a path for public service.
Yeah, sure.
And I really like the business development because that's where that scoreboard, right? I'd hate to see some of my first cold calls or some of my first calls. I'd have to basically send $10 to Harris, Kentucky, or pick a city.
Yeah.
And say, give me your business development or your local Chamber of Commerce business list. And then look at that list and try to identify who is a manufacturing facility.
Yeah.
Get the phone number, cold call.
Yeah.
The access that we have now for data is crazy. I had in such a matter. So person or prospector at the very least. So I like them all, but I feel like I did gravitate toward the business development side because I ended up going to full time into marketing.
Okay. Gotcha. So that's where you transition now. So you're working at the company up in Michigan. Where do you go next from there?
Up for 2 years in Michigan, get recruited down to Indiana, spent time consulting. And then I had a little one in 2002. And that's when I was a partner in the consulting firm, going to 8 states and a couple of times into Canada. And just coming back to him was hard, being gone and harder coming back. I have another trip coming up. So he was about 18 months old. And I said to my husband, I got to find something else. And I love my business partner, but it's just in the people that we had working with us, I just couldn't do it any longer. And so I got an amazing opportunity at OrthoMedi to be their director of marketing. Mm-hmm. And they're like, hey, we like your background. You know how to talk to coaches from the sports medicine side. You know how to top work comp with the work comp nurses and manufacturing facilities and people we work with there. And you also know how to deal with orthopedic surgeons.
Yeah.
And all 3 are challenging and they're both pays on your pay. And it was just a great opportunity. So at the time I was there, they were getting ready to open their orthopedic hospital. And then it was there about a year, and they got an opportunity to open the hospital in Carmel that is now IU Pulp Neuro Hospital.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I had another great opportunity. That boss there, the CEO there, John Goebel, is a fantastic human.
Yeah.
And just a coach, a mentor, a kind human.
Yeah.
And it was just a great opportunity getting to learn from him because he was all about culture development, people growth and development. And really delivering service to the customer that was beyond expectations.
Yeah. It's interesting. When I was at OrthoMedi, 3 different areas, your career up until that point, you had done all of those things. You were kind of a rare bird.
For sure.
Right? I mean, because you could run through all of those things. Because now you live in Carmel, working at IU Health, but eventually we end up getting into Sybil, to Georgia for the city.
Yeah.
So where do you go after IU Health? What's next?
Well, really, Dan Evans, who's the CEO of, and really it's called Clarion Health at the John Braden before the brand had changed. And Dan Evans was the one that said, look, you got an opportunity here in Carmel that's unique. Ascension St. Vincent has been here 20 years. We're the new guy in the block. you really need to have a close working relationship with the municipality, the city. And so, see what you can do there. And paired me up with a local governmental affairs guy who was friends with the mayor, who was sponsored some things. And I did a Carmel Bears, what do I call it? Carmel Bears Health Challenge or something like that. And we said we do health screens for people, and 600 people show up on a Saturday. A lot more than we thought.
Yeah. More than you expected.
Yeah, but those early days, the time to really understand what Mayor Braden was doing with the city of Carmel, which is transformational. Yeah. I took that as an educational opportunity. Listen to Dan Evans, a tremendous healthcare leader, was another opportunity. Yeah. How healthcare was forging its future at that time. Listen to John Goebel talk about customer service and how to treat people as an employer. I mean, I was getting lessons left and right. Sure. Fantastic.
Right. So you're getting all these lessons. Had you ever considered, stepping out of working in, healthcare and those types of things and going down a different path? What's kind of going on in your mind as you start to think about what's going to be next?
As I moved from Ortho Indy to IU Health, I took part of a program called the Luger Series. Mm-hmm. Richard Luger's a longtime senator in the state of Indiana. They had a training program for women, and it's over, I think it's 32 years strong now. But I thought, as I settled down, I wasn't traveling so much. I thought, who's running the show here? Right? Why are we not able to pay our schools and local governments? What's happening here? Who's making the decisions? How does this all work? So I really had paid attention to it.
Yeah, of course.
And haven't been in Indiana about that time for about 10 years. I want more than education. I got accepted to this Luger Series. That program teaches you to either be a really good volunteer or a campaign manager or a finance person or, a sponsorship person or the candidate. Mm-hmm. Every aspect of a candidacy is exposed and trained.
Interesting.
And it's amazing. And I figured I was just going to use communications and PR kind of background to help whoever was going to run.
Okay.
And I did. I helped the judge. I helped a class A run for a position in Marion County, helped the judge. And it was really fulfilling, and I really liked it. And I really didn't think much about it past that until I didn't like to see council representative that was my district rep.
Okay.
And I kept saying, someone should run against him. I'm going to help whoever runs against him. Yeah. And Noah was running. And it was getting close to the deadline, and oh no, he can't get a free pass.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Sure.
And so I threw my hat in the ring. So to that point, it was I'm going to give it a go and see what happens, but this is not cool.
So the whole time though, again, this is interesting. It's almost like becoming an entrepreneur, right? I mean, there's a lot of folks that have this, they're maybe wantrepreneurs, or they want to do this, but they don't actually go and do it. You're thinking this whole time, I'm going to be supported, use my skills, help somebody come in whom I can support that I think would be a better candidate. But then you're like, what the heck, at the end, I'll just throw my hat in.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So when you're doing that, you're thinking through those things. You'd mentioned some mentors and some people. I'm assuming you're talking to the community and getting some insights and just decide to go for it. So this is your first foray getting into trying to be an elected official, not helping somebody go on tour, right? And so what happens? Tell our goes what happens with that.
Well, first, you touched on something I think is important, and that is running campaign as running a small business.
Yeah.
And you have to differentiate yourself. You have to have a message. You have to have followers. You have to have a finance plan. And you have to have guts. And when you're running a local campaign like that, I think I raised $11,000, my whole thing. For perspective, last year, when I ran for mayor and won, we raised $1.1 million. It spent every dollar and then some. So think of from a scale perspective, it's always much different.
Yeah, sure.
But I think what happened was, you just start put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
And say, okay, well, and you rely on people who run a campaign before, right? So that's not true. I've walked for other candidates in the past and knocked on doors, so a little experience doing that. But let me tell you, it's much different knocking on a door saying, hi, I'm Sue, I'm running for blah, 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 versus, hi, I'm here to talk to you about, right? So it's just totally different conversation. But not like me knocking on doors and saying, hi, I'm Sue, I offer ergonomic service, right? Yeah. So you can absolutely rely on Yeah, those kind of experience.
It's a cold call, right? You're making a cold call, knock on that door, no idea what you're going to see. You know your story, you know what you're going to say, you're not sure what you're going to get back, but you know you have to do that at volume to be successful.
And just like I said, I prospected with those ancient ways of getting businesses. You prospect for votes as well. You're not going to knock on people's doors who don't vote. It's a complete one shouldn't.
Right.
It's a complete waste of time. If they're not ever going to vote, then you don't knock there. If they're not going to, if it's a primary and they're only going to vote for one party or the other, you're not going to knock on the other party's door either. It's a waste of time. You got limited time, limited resources. You got to straight to the point and the right people as you can get your message across.
Yeah.
So we do have incredible data. Back then, you'd print out pieces of paper. It would show a walk list to a neighborhood. It'd do 1, 7, 9, 15, 22, and 29. You got to loot.
Yeah.
Those would be the people who always vote, the political party that you're hanging your hat on.
Yeah.
And now we have it in an app. Tremendously helpful to them say, not voting or really their issue is local finance or parks or schools, right? You could make notes and then you could customize your message based on what their interests are or your conversation was about. Back then it was not that way. You could write down a piece of paper, but it was a lot different. So you just put one foot in front of the other, you learn, you refine your message, you get bolder, you get braver, and it just 3 weeks out, I say, then you get heroic. I've done it every single time I've run. It was just 3 city council campaigns at Mayor campaign. But through the last 3 weeks, it's just the absolute hardest. It's just all of a sudden, everybody hates me. Nobody likes me.
Yeah, right.
Why am I doing this? I wasted my time. I've ruined my life. This is awful. And then the day comes and, you win or lose. And,
Yeah, right. Exactly right. It goes back, and I was going to take it back to the athletics piece, right? Football, for example, they play games on Sunday, but the other 6 days they prepare, right? It could be in the classroom, it could be, on the field, whatever the case is, but they're going to go out and do all that they can. For you, that's the election, and you're going to go spend all the time and do everything, like you said, outwork a lot of folks. There's a lot of business, parallels to that, like you said. Running a small business, doing all of these things in a campaign are very similar. That's why it's interesting when I said you threw your hat in the ring, you kind of were becoming an entrepreneur. Hey, I'm going to go be the leader of this. It happens to be a campaign, but then I'm going to go lead something over here. So, all right, so 3 campaigns for city council, 1 for the opportunity for mayor. But so now you win, and now you're part now of the government.
Yep.
And you're walking forward. What's that look like, and what's the path look like to get to where you are today?
Well, you have a transition time, and that's challenging, where you go from campaign to governing.
Okay.
It's a mental change, and I would say myself and most candidates, it takes you a little while to get out of campaign mode because you're just going.
Yep.
And then you start thinking about, well, who am I going to hire, and what are we going to accomplish? Now, in my campaign as a differentiator, I'm going to tell you this, so don't laugh, because I'm going to come back and qualify it. I did a plan called Carmel. It's 57 points. Now, 57 points is a lot, and I was told to stop writing at that point. But the reason I did that was to show that I had the breadth of thinking to run a city.
Sure.
I didn't expect anyone to read probably past the headlines of each of the pages, right? Public safety, community outreach, financial, sustainability, transparency. But it was there if they wanted it.
Sure.
But that was also my roadmap from day one. And so I'm proud to say we're like probably 87% of those done after 2 years and 2 months, or somewhere in there. And so, or done or in the process of getting done. So most people aren't going to read more than 3 bullet points.
Yep.
So we knew that was a lot, but it was also it was a comparison piece against my client or my competitor.
Yeah.
And it was also, I wanted people to see that I had experience to do in terms of city council and as a business professional to be thinking deeply about the things that matter to the city of Carmel's residents.
Yeah.
And that I was a person to hire for the job. So we just got to work that, Next thing though was being very thoughtful about hiring people.
Yep.
Some electeds choose to go the route of like, who helped me on my campaign? And then they earned a spot, like through trust and expertise, they earned a spot on the administration. I didn't do that. We had a very, very small campaign team and amazing volunteers, but we didn't have anybody that we say, okay, this person's going to be chief of staff or this person's going to be helping in that particular department.
Yep.
So we had to go headhunting. And so part of my experience that I did tell you about is I spent 2 years at a manufacturing facility as head of all administration. I spent 2 years hiring 350 people for a baby. It's only manufacturing facility. And so again, I was able to tie that gears back and say, who do I want? Who's going to fit their wall? What's the culture I want to create? And went and try to find the very best people. We just found fantastic people. It slowed down the transition a little, right? Because people were coming out at various points in the first year. But I felt it was better to get the right people in the seats than just anybody in the seats. And, we didn't always hire perfectly. Some of the things we try to do year one have to change at year 2 or year 3 because some of the changes to the state has done with our property tax. So I'd love to say it would have been a smooth ramp. It's not. It's life. You're resilient. Change course when you need to. But interviewing people for these positions was such a fun thing to do because all I got to do is sell the city of Carmel to people.
Yeah.
Right.
What a great job. Yeah. But I'm gonna go back to the 57 points. So when you think about that, for you it was your roadmap. Right? These are the things that we want to do. These are the 57 things we want to do. People could read that, of course, right? But that's when you walk in and you hand that to somebody and think it translate this to the business side. This says to your client, look, these are the things that need to get done. These are the things I'm thinking about. And it's not a 30-day thing. This is a 3, 4, 5-year thing. Whether everybody pays attention and reads everything, they're leaving with, oh my gosh, the amount of preparation that went into this goes back to like football. The amount of time that they spent here, you can see that on the field. That's awesome. I didn't realize you had 50. So that's a lot about going. A lot of things you done.
So, we started with the public safety top 10 or whatever to win over basically the trust of the police and fire. We had 3 sitting city councilors running for mayor and someone who had been a county councilor. So, I felt like I needed to speak to them directly. We did a 10 or whatever it was point public safety brief. And I'm like, what if we did this for other areas? Transparency, fiscal sustainability. So we felt like if I heard something at a door, people said, I'm worried about our transparency. I never hear this. I don't understand that. Then I'd say, great. You look at page 7 of this top cities. I'd put my plan for transparency. Yeah. If it was, I'm concerned about the city spending. Fantastic. We thought that through. Look at page 5 because it's all of our fiscal policy, conversation. Yeah. So we did at least kind of narrow in the picture, but it was a pretty hefty document, right? And it was pretty. I'm a marketing girl, right? So it's pretty and attractive. And so that gave us, at least a brand presence too, as far as I polished and put together. Yeah. So we killed a couple trees for those, but they were received very well.
Yeah. Oh, all right. So now we know you're the mayor of the city of Carmel. I love Carmel. Beautiful city. A lot of folks do, right? And a lot of times when we have these conversations, we're talking to for-profit business leaders, right? Or sometimes nonprofit organizations, right? But this is the first time we're talking to somebody that's running a city, but it's a business. You're running on a city, doing those types of things. So, what does it look like for you, right? What are the things that you're doing? What's going on in the city? And being that we're a technology company, it's interesting to understand how technology is changing. We've heard it from gleaners, right? Nonprofits talking about how they're leveraging technology to squeeze dollars to feed more people, and how for-profit companies are talking about AI and leveraging all these types of things. So I'm curious, with the city, talk a little bit about what's going on.
So I'm going to back up a little bit. Sure. Some of our listeners, viewers, whatever, who may have come from other states.
Oh, this would be great.
Because mayors function differently in different states.
Great idea.
So we are a strong mayor state.
Okay.
And that means the mayor has a lot more power and authority in Indiana than, say, Texas.
Interesting.
So, in some states, it's by city. So we're going to even confuse it even more. In some states, the mayor has a responsibility for schools. Most don't. In Indiana, we do not. It's a separate elected school board. But a strong mayor means you are the executive. In a weak mayor state, there's a city manager that's hired by the city council. And then the mayor is more of a figurehead vision setter.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't know that. Okay.
And sometimes the mayor is actually a member of council, and the council voted them to be the mayor, and it changes every year. Others, it's elected by the people. Sometimes it's partisan. Sometimes it's not partisan. In Indiana, it's partisan, and the mayor is a strong mayor. So I just wanted to dwell set there.
So that's interesting. So as you broke that down, strong mayor, there's no city manager, right? So that makes you, to relate that into a business term, makes you like the CEO of the city.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're the CEO of the city. That's good to understand how that works. Okay, interesting.
So all the employees report through me. If it was
Yeah.
the city manager, they report to them, and the mayor's inside. So I feel like the mayor has three main responsibilities in Indiana. It's first of all to promote the heck of the city, right? You are the spokesman for the city, and you are its biggest cheerleader. You should be.
Yep.
And different mayors choose to do that in different ways. Second of all, you convene people around important topics. And it's a little bit harder to grasp sometimes because I was in a position a lot of times where I'm in marketing PR, I'm pushing the CEO forward.
Yep.
So now I'm the CEO, right? So I have to take that step forward. So it takes a little bit to make that shift. But basically, we just announced that we're doing a Mayor's Advisory Commission on Food Access. This is where I can use the power of the incumbency to say, this is a topic that we should be talking about. Who should be talking about it? How are we gonna pull these together? So we're gonna have people come talk about the need, the resources, and if there are any gaps, and then how we as a community, not just Indiana, because I'm part of a nationwide initiative to help make sure children have the food and resources they need. So we're pulling together resources, city, state, and local to talk about this issue. We did something similar with housing in 24. So promote, convene, and then lead as the executive officer for the city.
Gotcha.
So with that, you obviously have to, the city of Carmel had never had a mission statement or vision statement, value statements, or strategic plan.
So a lot of the things that would have come out of the business world that you would have done in marketing days that you would put together, that didn't exist.
Correct.
So the city wasn't really, in your mind, operating, the way a business would. Yeah. So you've got to go put all that in place.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have to have a place where we know where our shared vision is. We have to know where we're headed. And Mayor Braden developed such a fantastic city, right? I mean, just an incredible growth environment. I felt like given the times we're in, some of the financial changes or financial situations different for us in this crazy environment, that we really need to focus on what's important. I wanted to center people on the people in our community, not necessarily the roads or the buildings. Yeah. Now, it's easy for me to say now because Jim Braden built a heck of a city with amazing roads and amazing buildings. Yeah. But I can take it to the next level and talk about our people. Who's the heartbeat of our community? And so we talked about that. We're trying to curate an incredible community. And what we say is built for big dreams, because we've heard that over and over. I came here because I wanted my kids in the school system. Yeah. I want a safe school. I wanted educational opportunities. I need outstanding healthcare in my backyard. I want to make sure I knew my neighbor. I wanted an international community. On and on. I wanted paths and trails, but it was like, this is my dream. I stayed and I scrimped to be able to get into Carmel, or I timed it right to finally get here to Carmel. I've been trying to get a job Carmel for 2 years, right? It's all coming together. Like, this is their dream. Yeah. And so that's what we do. That's what our staff is working on every single day to make sure we create a community that meets and exceeds their expectations so they can exceed their dreams.
It's amazing. When you think about it, the way you broke that down, you talked about the city, infrastructure, roads, buildings, and that's kind of phase one. Here in phase two, which is how are we going to take those people that are living here and create the community for them that's the community of their dreams, right? And that's what you guys are working on every day. That's awesome. Yeah, what a terrific job.
But with that is technology. You asked me about technology, so I just want to forget your question there. I think if there's one opportunity we really had, that was to modernize how the city of Carmel does their business. We've got a software program called Gary Software. Gary is no longer with us on this earth, I don't think. And so Gary software can't get updated anymore. It runs all of our POs. We got some ancient other accounting software and other things that needs updated. So that's a huge opportunity. It's a glaring opportunity. Sure. But we're also leading. So then that's where we're lagging. And we need to bring us up to modern standards. But we're also leading our peers in 2 areas of an example. Drone first responder technology.
Yeah, this is interesting. I want to hear about that.
So if you call 911, someone live answers the telephone and starts asking you, where's the location of the emergency, what's your name, what's happening, right? It's recording data. And as your flight gets sent, it goes out, it gets sent out, that message gets sent out, and emergency personnel arrive. Yeah. What we have now is drone technology where we can be getting that information live as it's being called in and dispatch a drone. And since the drone can also fly like a crow, right? You're being out there by the ramp. Yeah. A drone can actually be over the site of the accident or incident before the car has actually been dispatched many times. So that provides our officers with a better set of eyes. Yeah. It provides a safer environment for them to show up at.
Yep.
And it also, provides us that ability to call off an officer so they're in district more often, bigger percentage of the time.
Sure.
It's like, oh, there's a fender bender out there changing. They'll send 10 people, send the one.
Yes, sir.
Right. So it's a tremendous opportunity. We're only the second agency to see of any of it to do that. One of few in the country.
Okay.
And the other thing we're doing is putting tracking devices in all of our cars. Some businesses have this as well, but particularly our snowplows. So we could see the route they're taking, and eventually, I don't think it'll happen this spring, but next fall when our first snowstorm hits, we should be able to push on a map so someone can look and see what's been plowed, where the trucks are at around the city. Maybe track to time as far as when they're coming to their cul-de-sac, for instance.
Yeah, sure.
But it also helps us look at efficiency, gas mileage, route confusion, training opportunities, all those kind of things. So
that's awesome.
That's what we're trying to lead with.
Yeah, and those two pieces of technology are terrific. The drone, especially, if you think about that the drone can get very quickly. Like you said, it's safety for the officer. What's it look like? Do they need to be deployed? Like you said, just a fender bender. They're going to take off and exchange information. We can call off. What a cool piece of technology. We didn't talk about this earlier, but I'm curious. One of the things you said was when you go out and knock on the doors, right? And part of your job was to sell. The city of Carmel, you were selling the city of Carmel. So if I wasn't from Indiana and I didn't live around here and I was just coming in and I was thinking about moving into Indianapolis, maybe north side, what are some of the things you would say, hey, this is why you want to choose Carmel?
First of all, I'd say what our residents saying is safe, clean, and beautiful. Those are the top 3 things that our residents say about our community. So, from a safety perspective, we have the 3rd lowest pedestrian fatality rate in the country. We actually got excluded from a ranking, number 1 best place to live, those kind of things, because we had 0 murders. And they thought we didn't want to participate in giving them the right.
Yeah.
So, but incredible safe community with police officers who care. Yeah. We have an incredible school district, literally one of the best in the country.
Yep.
And we have school resource officers in every school, by the way, which is an unusual thing. We take it for granted here. It's not the norm.
Really?
There are police officers who care to know the kids and the families and the issues and are there for a lot of reasons other than keeping the school safe. It's making sure the children who maybe fall through a crack as far as something going on at home are identified. Some kid may come to school maybe without shoes on or something like that. They can identify like this isn't a norm. Yeah. We have an incredible park system. Twice won the gold medal award for the best park system in the country. They've won it every time they've been first up, every time they've been eligible. They'll be eligible again, I think, in 27. Won the Indiana Parks and Recreation Association Outstanding Agency last year. Just phenomenal amount of parkland. And our art scene is incredible too. And we're waiting to see where we rank in the best art design districts in the country from USA Today. That should be released here soon. And we expect to be, we know we're in the top 10, but where that is, we're not sure yet. Number 1 Christina art in the country, the Palladium, which is now sponsored by Allied Solutions. Incredible concert sound, beautiful facility, with an amazing staff that put out, 80 to 100 shows a year. So we're just really blessed with amazing environment. And I'll say then, our people are unique. We're an international community, 17% foreign born, highly educated. At one point, we had we're in the top 10 of most master's degrees in the country.
Okay.
Incredible healthcare. We check all the boxes, and it's just really, really an honor and a privilege to lead in this community because we got it really good here, and we're going to keep it really good here.
Yeah, it's so great to hear. When you went through those things, and there's more, I'm sure, but when you think about it, everything is always near the top of the list, right? Safety, top of the list. Roads, top of the list. Schools, top of the list. So having an opportunity, to be here and be part of the community, why wouldn't you want to do that? Great answer, by the way. And so just thinking about the community and some of the ways we talk to some of our guests about nonprofits that are supported. We talk about communities. We talk about communities within their business and how they're creating culture. When you think of community, obviously for you as a mayor, how are you personally maybe interacting with the community? What's that look like for you?
Well, my Sam will tell you that's my favorite thing to do is be with kids in the community.
Yeah.
Monday, I'm having breakfast at one of the elementary schools with the superintendent because it's a national school breakfast week or something like that.
Okay.
And I thought that'd be a fun thing to do. So I'm personally always looking for ways to engage in the community. I bring in a deputy mayor every council meeting who's a fifth grader usually.
Which is awesome, by the way. That is so cool to see.
Thank you. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
So they're like, this is such a great opportunity for the kids. I'm like, no, it's a great opportunity for me. These kids are impressive. They're going to run our world and we're in good hands. So I like that. We try to do business visits, both the large visits and then of course ribbon cuttings and those things for the smaller businesses. We do a lot of just community engagement activities. We did 6 pop-up meetings where we had 6 council districts and we went out to each one of them and just brought the fire truck, the police cars. We brought Republic Trash was with us
Okay.
to bring the trash truck, which is every little kid's dream to be in that. Our water and sewer utilities and a variety of other personnel just to be out there and answer questions and just say thank you too back to them. They're so appreciative that we come to their neighborhood. So we'll be doing those again as well.
Okay.
And then we have a variety of academies and like Citizens Academy for police, Citizens Academy for utilities. We're going to do one for overall city, probably in the fall, I'm thinking. So I just like try to be creative and innovative and be out and where we can. I think living north, there's some safety concerns, right? Today's world is a lot different than it used to be. So we've had to maybe pull back on some of the things I wanted to do. We just like, hey, maybe this isn't the smartest thing. But again, we're the safest community in the country, one of them. So I don't have concerns there. We're just more like, you do have to have a little bit of forethought on some of these things.
Yeah.
But again, I think it was the former CEO of Scandinavian Airlines. And I think this might be in the book 1 Minute Manager, if I remember right. And I could be wrong on that, but this goes back 400 years. But said, saturate yourself with the voice of the customer. Yeah. That's how they were successful. I had just absorbed that from day one and said, this is how I want to make sure we lead. The first thing I spent money on as a mayor was a comprehensive community survey. We got, I think it was 7,200 people to respond.
No kidding.
It's incredible.
It's a lot.
And that's how we know the safe, clean, and beautiful. And that's how we know when we asked them what's their number 1 priority. I thought it was going to be schools. It was public safety by far.
Seriously, I would have thought it was schools too.
Yeah. Okay. There was, you think,
Yeah.
Data's going to come out, but I think, that's where you have to lead with curiosity and not certainty and lead with the curiosity. Well, what is the truth here? What do they want? By far, they want a safe community.
Yeah.
And so we worked really hard to keep our investment there while also investing in other areas and, right sizing other areas which had opportunity.
Yeah. It's interesting. So when a lot of times when you look at a business, right? So you as the CEO of the organization, you look at all the folks that are working with you, personal experience, 5 kids I have. My number 4 he was a fireman from the day he passed, right? He loves the firemen. And so he forever has loved it. We would go, when he was little, he would dress up like a fireman. We would go trick or treating. He wouldn't ask for candy. He would check the fire hydrants and say, yeah, this one's okay, right? And so Carmel, no matter what station we ever went into, you go knock on the door, say hello. Every single time they were exactly the same. They treated that kid. The kid was the greatest kid. He was on top of trucks. He was putting hats on. He was doing everything he could do. And they treated him with just love and respect. And every time I thought of that, I thought, this is so cool. And maybe they're recruiting a future fireman. But at the end of the day, that goes back to the leadership and the culture that's built. Whether it's a city or a business, you can see that culture that you've built. It's really cool to see in the city of Carmel.
And to go back and look at when the city was founded in 1837, there was 4 businessmen that put stakes in the ground and lined out 14 plats. Right where the stoplight is at First and Main, by the way.
Okay.
First Main range line, that area. And they said, we will excel. And this is spiritually, financially, educationally. And so they set the bar really high, 1937. And I just found that so interesting to read because I'm trying to go back and read different things about our history to better understand where we came from and where we're headed. And I think that as a community, we just continue to honor that and set the bar just a little higher.
Yeah, right.
I go back to my athletic training days. I sit down how many football practices watching the linemen get off the line, and the offensive line coach would be like trying different things on the fingertips, on the knuckles, and the palms, like all this, just to get that much faster.
Yeah.
Same thing with a receiver with the release, off the line. It's just like just a little bit more. You see swimmers today, you see analysis of athletics. Saw the Winter Olympics, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what we should be doing as a community. Just continue to say, like, we're gonna set the bar that much higher for the next generation to tip it that much higher. So
yeah, such an interesting story. Your journey from going through college and working through all the different places in your background, it's interesting how you've had the ability to work in all the different areas, which has made you a well-rounded individual, which could make you a CEO of any organization, in my opinion. It just happens to be that the city of Carmel is lucky to have it.
yeah, I'm lucky to have it.
That's awesome. That is so cool. So before we end, let's talk a little bit of fun. All right. So Carmel is awesome. Lots of fun stuff to do when you are outside of work. Of course, you're always the mayor.
Exactly.
No matter where you go, you're always the mayor.
Yeah.
But when you're outside of working, well, it's fun. What do you do?
My husband and I like to go to national parks and hike and, state parks, whatever. So when we travel, it's usually around hiking, around wine. We both like wine a lot. So, try to go to different wine areas. And then, now I've developed this, a little bit of a passion for seeing how different cities look, feel, run, operate, right? So that's fine. I went to Montreal and just wandered around for, I don't know, about 6 hours, just seeing different things. Then at Chris Cunhamart, they had a business district, they had a transit area. And so I look at things a little differently when we travel. That's sure. We like to travel internationally, big movie fans as well. That is a good escape from being mayor to get into some other headspace with whatever crazy show we're watching.
Right.
And again, huge sports fans.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So one of the things that I didn't even know before we sat down was all the different ways that mayors operate in different states and different cities. It's interesting to see that breakdown and how it operates here. And so that was something that was very interesting for me to learn today. And then just the journey that you've shared and, kind of the future of Carmel. I know it's going to be terrific. And I'm sure it's going to be an awful lot of fun. Like you said, you're lucky to have Carmel. They're lucky to have you. But appreciate you being on the show and sharing your story. It was awesome.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.